Hi, everyone. Welcome back to DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Matthew Moreno, and joining me today are Blake Williams and Daniel Starkand. And we're here to talk pitching. Of course, the big news is Yoshinobu Yamamoto's posting window has opened. But before we really dive into that, let's cover some Lance Lynn news. He is heading back to the Cardinals on a reported one-year deal worth $10 million, but it includes performance bonuses as well and a team option that could take its total value up to 26 million. And so, the signing is a little bit of a reunion for the two, as the Cardinals drafted Lynn with the 39th overall pick in 2008. And he, of course, finished the 2023 season with the Dodgers after being acquired along with Joe Kelly from the White Sox prior to the trade deadline. And, Lynn became a free agent because the Dodgers had an $18 million team option on him for 2024 that they predictably declined in favor of paying a $1 million buyout. So, Blake, I'll come to you first. Just what are your general thoughts on the deal Lynn received from the Cardinals?
Yeah, so when I saw it, I thought good for Lance Lynn because he was not very good last year. So for him to get paid, good job there. And also, it kind of shows how the pitching market's going to be this offseason. As I just alluded to, he was not very good, and he still got paid pretty quickly and on a solid contract. So the Cardinals desperately needed pitching, so that kind of explains it. They probably needed to add at least 3 starters, if not more, this offseason. Their rotation's kind of a mess, so it makes sense from that standpoint. He's going to go and eat innings there, and that's something they really need. But it also kind of compares the Dodgers versus the Cardinals rotation. We keep talking about how much the Dodgers need pitching, and they do, but you kind of compare how other teams need pitching too, and you can kind of say the Dodgers might not be in as bad of a spot as we thought because they're not going out and signing Lance Lynn. So I think that is important to consider. The Dodgers need a top of the rotation starter, and they need another guy to fill in the mid of the rotation, but it's not going to be Lance Lynn, so it's good for them. And hopefully they end up with one of the bigger targets this offseason.
Yeah, Daniel, obviously Lynn struggles with the Dodgers and frankly with the White Sox as well, are well documented. We have discussed them, to no end. And while declining the option, I think, was something we all sort of expected to happen, it still, left open the possibility that maybe Lance Lynn was back on, more team-friendly terms. And I'm sure our comment section is going to go crazy at me even, throwing this possibility out there. But was there a world where maybe the Dodgers should have been open to bringing Lynn back? Because, like Blake said, as much as he struggled, he did eat innings, and we did see this season how quickly depth can be lost.
I think maybe if it was 5 or 6 million, then maybe you consider it as a fifth starter innings eater type, like you were saying. But I think at 10 million with the potential for more, I think that's pretty insane, if you ask me. And I'm glad the Dodgers stayed away from that. I know there was hope, when the trade went down that, bring him into the Dodgers pitching factory, he'll be able to turn it around. He's had some good years in the past. He's not completely, washed up yet. But I think as time went on, I don't think it was, really salvageable. I think, like you said, he can eat innings, but at what cost? If he's given up 4 homers in a row or whatever it was, like we saw in the playoffs, that's just not going to get the job done. And I think while, yes, the Dodgers do need multiple starting pitchers, I think we're all expecting at least one guy at or near the top of the market, one ace type, and then probably another innings eater type, which would have been Lynn. But I still think if you're willing to give out, 10, 12 million a year or whatever, I think there are some better options out there. Some guys who have upside that you think, similar to the Lynn acquisition, where if we bring them in, there's something we could tweak here or there. And they could be better, like we saw with Andrew Heaney, Tyler Anderson, the list goes on and on. Obviously not as much success with Noah Syndergaard last year, but I think they already saw what they had in Lynn, and there wasn't a whole lot left to tweak there. So I think, it was best to let him move on, and I think you could find some other guys in that same tier to eat innings for you.
Yeah, the great point. As much like you said, the Dodgers are certainly they appear to be shopping at the top of the starting pitching market, and they need it. There's no denying that they lack kind of an ace caliber pitcher right now. Walker Buehler, I think, could be that guy if he is healthy, but how much is it? How much is to be expected from him in his first full season back from another Tommy John surgery? So, It'll be interesting to see, because I think as much as they need an ace, they also need, maybe some depth. And if it's not necessarily Lance Lynn, that's fine. It'll be interesting to see who it ends up being, because like you said, they tried with Noah Syndergaard for 2023 and it didn't really pan out. So let's transition now to the focus of this video, and that's Yamamoto's posting window officially opened as of 5 a.m. Pacific this morning as we record this on Tuesday. And so, of course, this was something that was to be expected for quite some time. And then over the past couple of weeks, it was a little bit of a waiting game. It just became a matter of, okay, when is he going to actually be posted, start his 45-day window? Like I said, that officially happened Tuesday morning. And so he can now negotiate with any team and sign a contract. And Daniel, I'll come to you. I asked this to Blake and Ron during our live show on Sunday. Aaron Nola and the Phillies sort of got ahead of the market, I think, a little bit with their 7-year, $172 million contract. What impact, if any, do you think that's going to have on maybe the bar for Yamamoto?
I mean, I think we're seeing with all these starting pitching, contracts, that including the Lance Lynn one, like kind of like Blake was talking about, like literally everyone needs starting pitching right now. So I wasn't surprised by that number that Nola got. Like, I think he's really good, but I wouldn't put him on that ace tier. So I think when you're looking at Yamamoto, he's going to get even more than that. Blake Snell will get more than that. So I think it's a great winter to be a free agent starting pitcher, or even one that's on like a bad team on the trade market. Like, I think pretty much every contender needs starting pitching right now, and I think Yamamoto is the best name out there. Like, I know some people like Blake Snell, but to me, I think Yamamoto, with his age and his upside, I think that's the number one starting pitcher that's out there. So I think he's going to get a lot of money. I think he's going to get a long-term deal. Like I just mentioned, he's only 25, so you could give him a 10-year deal, and he's going to be that's going to end when he's 35. I believe Nola's like around 30 or something. He gets the 7-year deal. That's going to take him even deeper into his career. So I think Yamamoto's going to get a nice contract. He's going to have plenty of suitors, and I would expect and hope that the Dodgers are one of them.
Yeah, like Daniel mentioned it, there's no shortage of teams looking for starting pitching this offseason. That, of course, includes the Dodgers, as we've continued to cover. What can you tell us about kind of the teams that are expected to be in pursuit of Yamamoto? At least, I know, it could literally, you could rattle off, 30 teams right now, but let's focus on maybe some of the more aggressive ones.
Yeah, so you're going to see all the big market teams trying to get him, of course. It's going to be the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Rangers, maybe the Braves, the Giants, possibly the Astros. Just every team that needs a starter and has the money to do it is going to be in on Yamamoto. Because like Daniel alluded to, he's 25. To put in perspective, that's younger than James Outman, who was just a Rookie of the Year candidate. So to have a free agent on the market who's younger than Rookie of the Year candidates and can be an ace for your team, it's just unprecedented. So you're going to see all these teams making their best offer to try and get Yamamoto in their organization, because it's just so rare. It's not something that ever happens. And he's a guy that both eye test people and analytics people just absolutely love him. His stature is a little smaller, which is probably the only knock on him. But we've seen smaller pitchers have success at the major league level still. And he has 5 pitches he can work with. He just has all the abilities you need to be a successful starter. So he's going to be really popular on the market, and hopefully the Dodgers end up with him, but could be anyone, like Matt alluded to, because it's just so rare and every team's going to want him.
Yeah, I think one thing that's also worth noting is whether it ends up being the Dodgers or any other team, signing Yamamoto also is going to be accompanied by needing to pay a posting fee on top of the overall value of the contract. And so, the breakdown of that is Oryx would receive, the signing team would have to pay 20% of the contract's first $25 million plus 17.5% of the next $25 million, and an additional 15% on top of any dollar amount past that. And like we just mentioned, Nola signed for $172 million. Yamamoto's projections, maybe low end, were $200 million ish over whether 10 years, 8 years, 12 years, whatever it might be. And so, that'll just be something to keep an eye on. It shouldn't necessarily deter the Dodgers, as Blake likes to remind everybody. They are capable of spending every last dollar that they have and still being okay. And one final thing with Yamamoto is his deadline to sign is 2 p.m. Pacific on January 4th, 2024. And so I don't know if we're necessarily going to see this unfold quickly, considering there are going to be several teams involved, and I imagine his agency will look to leverage that as teams are interested. But yeah, that's what to keep in mind. And so let us know in the comments. Obviously, I think the Lance Lynn question is pretty obvious, but with Yamamoto, like, is there a number that maybe you think the Dodgers should sort of draw any sort of line in the sand in? Because as we've discussed, there's also still the Ohtani sweepstakes that they're expected to be part of, and they do have other holes on their roster, corner outfield and whatnot. So that's going to do it for us today. My name is Matthew. That was Daniel and Blake. We'll see you guys next time.